After months of hard work, you've finally finished all components of your application. You're now excited and maybe a little bit nervous to submit this application to your first choice of MBA programs. Because you're an uber-focused applicant, your deadlines are still a few days or even a couple of weeks away. Great news, right? Well, in general, yes, of course. Well done. Very impressive. You don't have to cram or stress about meeting those deadlines. And nothing sounds more stressful than pulling everything together when the stakes are highest on the night before the application is due. You have some extra time now, but that doesn't mean you need to use it. Here are some tips on what not to do just before submitting your application. The first one might surprise you, but don't ask your friends who went to your target schools to read your essays. You wrote and rewrote your essays, and perhaps it wasn't easy to cut the word count down to the maximum. You feel good about them. But now that you have the time, should you ask your family member who's a good writer for his or her thoughts, or better yet, ask those friends that are graduating from your target school what they think? Well, it's one thing to ask a friend for some insight on that school, perhaps about the program's clubs, activities, or favorite strategy class. However, writing is an art, not a science. You and your friend may have different writing styles, and your friends may be influenced by what worked for them. They may have highlighted a certain strength that they felt would resonate with the school, but that doesn't mean that's a strength that you have to possess too. They may have taken a creative approach to your straightforward essay or vice versa, and that's all okay. Our point is that differences will exist. The last thing you want to do is take a well-written essay that captures who you are and start to really second guess it. This can even have a snowball effect, leading to an end result that is not consistent with what you were hoping to convey initially. And you can suddenly go from confident to rushed as you make those changes. Of course, you also shouldn't nitpick your application. You spent so much time on each part of your application. There was so much writing. There could be a temptation to go back to your resume and evaluate every single word, every line of your short answers. It sounds tempting, but no. You do not need to labor over every minor detail. You might be surprised to learn that admissions officers tend to evaluate the big picture rather than the most minute detail. So when it comes to essays, they're not admitting you because of your adjective choice. And while we always want you to do your best to avoid any mistakes or typos in your application, one or two won't mean that you'll be rejected. Admissions committees are evaluating your application holistically. You'll hear that word a lot, holistically. So if you've presented the best version of yourself in a clear and thoughtful manner, then omitting that extra comma will not be the difference. One other thing, don't wait until just before the deadline to submit. It's okay to submit your application early. It will alleviate the inevitable stress that comes with knowing that you still have to send in your applications. Be confident that you've done everything to create a strong application. What is important are the months leading up to this, not second guessing and not nitpicking over the minutia on deadline day. So take a deep breath, click submit, and be proud of what you've accomplished. And now you can move on. Now, check out our next video on what not to do after submitting your application, starting right now.